Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I hope everyone's having a good start to their weekends. Wanted to do this live stream a little earlier this weekend, just in case there were some questions out there. I had some time this morning, so we'll go ahead and do that. Answer your questions, and may even be able to do another live stream tomorrow night if I can get it in. I hope I can. So, the market's got a lot of volatility trying to reemerge based on, the action on Friday and where are we heading, where are we going. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion and questions that people are going to have with the market overall. And let's talk about that a little bit, and then I'll get into the questions everyone has already kind of put in. So let's go to our screen here. Again, I hope everyone's having a good start to their week. So let's take a look at, again, the long-term view of the market. Again, we have to zoom out and take a look at where we are. Again, this is the entire grand super cycle, as you can see here, right? And if I just remove the drawings, I don't even need to put any commentary on this. I mean, again, if you're completely fully invested, every penny you own in the stock market, nothing is short, nothing is in cash. This is where we are. I mean, just you can kind of look, and the chart speaks for itself. And what you're doing here by doing that is you're just hoping for that last little bit, because because you're so afraid to miss some small move, these moves higher, but you're ignoring the risk. And that's what I think a lot of investors are doing. They don't understand the risk side of the equation. They just see the greed side, and that's fine until it stops working. Now we need to know what's going to pop this bubble. What's the pin that's going to pop it? Could AI do it? Could Oracle? Is Oracle our new Countrywide? You remember Countrywide Financial in 2007 and 8, and then they just infected the rest. I don't know. I mean, Oracle has got something broken with it. Okay, I get it. It's a nice, company for people to talk about and everything else. But there's something wrong with its capital structure, because the CDS, the credit default swaps on Oracle, are going through the roof. And we saw this before the financial crisis with banks that eventually collapsed, that seemed unsinkable. Okay, so and unthinkable. So sinkable and unthinkable. So I don't know what's going on with how they may have mismanaged their money. And I saw something, I retweeted on X, that their cash flow is negative, like I think $10 to $16 billion, while their earnings isn't. So that's earnings. That's kind of like using accounting and using the rules of financial accounting to make sure your earnings meet Wall Street's expectations. But you can't hide the cash coming in and out. And that was one of the clues around Enron. Go back and look, that you can manipulate earnings and price, and you can even buy back your own stock, to help, drive earnings, price per share, or drive all those metrics. But at the end of the day, it's cash in the door, free cash flow, right? So if you're seeing free cash flow plummet and go negative, the company is going to run out of money, and they're going to have to either issue more shares on the open market to raise more money, which is dilution, or the market won't allow that, or they'll have to issue more bonds, which I saw that Oracle can't do. I just read something that they're not able to even get investors to buy bonds anymore. So my thinking is, ignore the risks at your own peril. And again, I'm just a weatherman talking about storm clouds out there. And, being mad at me, and I'm not saying you guys are, I'm sure, but there's people out there that are not happy with what I'm saying, because they know deep down in their heart they should not have every penny long. everything they own in the market. They know that they shouldn't, but they just can't. They just can't. The greed and the fear of missing out is keeping them from, just taking some risk management measures. And so when people like me come out and talk about these risks, they hit that, and they want to, shoot and, hurt the weatherman for saying such, news, even though I'm just forecasting storm clouds out there, and I can't control it. Like turning me off and yelling at me and sending me, it isn't going to change the fact of what's happening. Look around you, and again, the facts are there with Oracle. And now we have Broadcom. Why is Broadcom starting to collapse? Well, we saw Broadcom in a flat. And it looks like that's what's playing out with Broadcom. Okay. Now, Broadcom, I don't think should get blown as destroyed as Oracle. But, we don't know this AI bubble. And there is a perma bear count in the SMH that may be, it is a possible count. I don't think it's likely, but if that count is valid, where we have ended the grand super cycle in semiconductors with that one last all-time high, then God help us all, because that means there's something much, much more devastating to come. And that gets into, okay, what has NVIDIA been doing? How are the round tripping? All this. And this sounds so analogous to credit default swaps, right? Mortgage, the mortgage-backed securities in 2007 and 8, CDO squared, all the, crazy financial engineering that happened to, again, inflate earnings. It all kind of came falling apart. And let's hope these companies didn't do that they didn't fall under the political pressure, the investor pressure from their shareholders and the public to do these kind of accounting shenanigans, because it will come out and it will all fall apart. So we'll know soon enough. But I think Oracle is something worth watching, because they're obviously the country. If the market is going to collapse and its SMH is going to be the driver, and the perma bear count is right, well, then Oracle will be the first casualty, it seems like. So let's just keep an eye on Oracle and how it does, and then see if it infects the wider space. So the Dow Jones this is the long-term chart, and like I said, it's tough to look at. And honestly, if we look at where we are on the Elliott wave count, we are in a 5, in the danger zone of the extension of 5. What the bulls need to do is a risk divergence. So they need to continue this significant push higher. The momentum we've seen since November 24th, that needs to continue with the same amount of intensity. If they're not able to do that, this will rapidly collapse, and we'll know soon enough, because we're getting close to the end game on this. Like I've talked to people before, we only have 2 counts. It's either a flat, which is a crash, or the correction, the April cycle is done and it's a blow off top. And there is no in between for me. So I think the people that believe in a flat right now, like I show here, this is how flats are born. You hit the danger area and you get a nasty rejection. Now, what happens next week is important. If you get follow through and we come back under this line I have here, like around 48, say under 48,000, I think it's highly likely it's a flat, and in the downside move will be could be substantial. If that doesn't happen, it has a possibility to come back and make one more high. As you can see here, we have 3 waves within this W, and then 3 waves in the X. We could have 3 waves here. Okay, so the Dow may have one last gasp right left, and so there is a possibility. There is a possibility that it could do that and finish. The other is even something a little more, kind of bullish, and kind of comes up to this upper area around 49,500. It's kind of this, slanted trend line. It's kind of tapped it, tapped it, tapped it. Maybe it needs to tap this here. So there's a couple possible ways here, but this move like that is worrisome because that's how flats are born. That's typically what you see, and in fact, if that's the case, then this should rapidly collapse before investors even realize what happened. So we don't know yet. It's too early to say, but this was not if you were a bull, you did not want to see this type of reversal. You did not want to see this type of reversal, that's for sure. So this reversal happened, and now the market's going to need to decide, do we want to have at least one more push higher? And what's driving the Dow Jones is mostly the cyclical side, the miners, metals, the cyclical trade, the consumer cyclical stocks, the stuff that really had been oversold, that haven't really moved that much. So that may still be able to, help this Dow Jones. Now the technology index is in a different situation. It looks like it did finish an impulse here and a sharp rejection, and then we had follow through. So now this may turn into an impulse on the downside, which would confirm this top. And if we get another low on Monday, right, this 5 waves, we could see another rally, which would be a potential trap again, something like this, and before the really big move. And then that rally could coincide with this final push. So I think it's 50-50 if the Dow Jones will make one last push higher, and it would need probably the technology to do this too. If we don't if we don't get that, I don't think that happens. If this count is a 1-2, and then this is a 1-2 here, right? Then of course that means it's topped. That means this is topped here, and that means this is topped here, and that would typically indicate Monday should be an even more bearish day than Friday. So if you thought Friday was bad in technology, Monday would be even worse. Maybe down almost 4% even, if this is the count. So I heard there were a lot of people buying the dip in technology, again, oblivious to the risk to these counts. So we'll know. I guess we can look at weekend Wall Street and see how things are going. But I think this is the setup. And then, of course, the IWM came very close to hitting its danger area for a flat, and then, boom, rejection off of 5. Can it extend? It always can. So it's just a little too early to tell. However, this type of move is typically how flats are born. And what we saw in Broadcom was not really bullish at all. Okay, so that's that. And then of course Bitcoin's really interesting because Bitcoin is in a connector. The only reason we won't say, oh, that's a major low, is because the markets are still forecasted to go lower. So I think it's kind of foolish to think Bitcoin would rally and the markets would all tumble. So we think the Bitcoin will follow the markets lower in a double correction. Also, I don't believe it's deep enough. Since we are correct in the whole cycle, we typically lose the whole 5th wave and come down here. That's the reason we think it goes lower. That's the reason, right? Because if you look at this chart, it shows 3 waves. And why, you could say, why don't I show it finished? Because of those factors. Now, this connector is interesting because I don't know if there's enough firepower to the downside to propel this down here in another crash wave. Now the daily cycle definitely is ready to roll over. So there's a sell-off coming. Okay, the little bear flag is going to break. It's going to break. I mean, this is telling you that, but the weekly cycle is telling you a lot of the sellers have left the market already. I mean, a lot of the selling has kind of exhausted itself potentially. So I think if you're in trading crypto, you need to really, really be careful. you need to be really careful. And I'm going to show you this view that you don't get caught up in something like this. I'll label it here. This, and that. Okay, you see what I'm trying to draw here? Okay, that could be the path crypto is going to take. So you got to be careful. This is, if I was, I had no position in crypto and I wanted one, I would be sitting out this whole thing. I would be sitting this out. I wouldn't trade it. I would have no interest in trading this sector right now. And back when we were in that big bear market, back here, this big bear market, I don't think I remember if my members, except for my live streams, you asked a lot about crypto as we went down, I know. But I never covered it. I never looked because it was just not worth even exploring, looking, because let's just let it fall. And I think crypto's in the same situation. If you want my thoughts on it, it's probably better to just go trade another sector and let this is going to take months and months and maybe even a year to play out, to get down to potentially where I think it's going to go. And in the meantime, you can easily chop yourself up and mess up on these swings. And if you're patient and just wait, you'll have a much better opportunity later. But I know a lot of traders love to trade these little areas. So I do want to tell you that I'm almost leaning to this being my primary view right now. Okay, something like this. I'm very close to saying that this is probably the likely path. I don't have it that way, only because I do respect, if the grand super cycle has ended, then perhaps the downside could be beyond my even imagination, because that would be a historic move down. So I have to respect that, and so maybe I shouldn't be too I don't want to give people the wrong impression to buy it at 76,000. If we see other signals that change our minds, like maybe let's say divergence is erased, or we see a breakout, or we see technology come out and take this high out, then I think we can get a little more aggressive with the crypto, and then I think we can look in these areas and play off these bounces. But right now, when I look at the entire market and where things are, I don't want to get caught up. But it's hard for me to believe there's a bunch of new sellers ready to just puke. I think it needs to trap more people to get down to these other levels. That's just my thoughts on it. The only way I think it can really just crash from here is some kind of market accident that is beyond like a black swan. Maybe the Bank of Japan does something next week that really surprises the market, and it creates a lot of panic, and that could do it. Or again, there's a lot of other black swan potential of the tariff being canceled and voided, what the repercussions are there, and also Epstein full photos, a few got leaked on Friday, as you know. So we don't know Venezuela war. So there's all these other things. So we have to respect that. So that's kind of where we are with it. And if you want a deeper analysis, you can subscribe. I always give my weekend update. So let's go to your guys' questions and take a look at what you have on your minds today, and let's take a look. So just kind of going back to some of the earlier questions from last night. The first one is I've got here, before I get to SBET, there was one before XPEV. So this one, it's a Chinese, like tech company into robotics that are going to try to compete with Tesla, trying to make robots like Tesla. Okay, what it's trying to do. So we have it at 5 waves up. And 1356. So the question is, what's your time frame and outlook? Well, the outlook I think is really positive, and I think the time frame however, is a lot more pain. I mean, and this could be a crash correction. Okay, it's a crash, and if this is a crash correction, this should hit by the end of the year, right? This should just boom capitulate by the end of December, and and again, this was identified to elite members the day it peaked, also before it ran up. I mean, we've pretty much nailed this entire move, and called this. This is pretty much a called shot here that's working as of now. Still too early, but there's your box, okay? And I see 5 up. So the only risk to not buying this would be if U.S. and China relations go south and they say, hey, you know what, your ADRs are no longer allowed, or you can't, use our capital markets, and guess what? This won't work. And that's why some people feel China's uninvestable, because of that, I guess, Six Sigma outlier tail risk that's always back there. Maybe, and I don't, you would have to think that would be the nuclear option for the U.S. to do that to them, but I guess it can happen. So again, I never put my whole stack of chips in China ADRs either. All right. The next question is BTCZ inverse target. Well, we just talked about it, and I know it's so tempting to trade Bitcoin, and this goes for anyone right now. I don't recommend trading it at this point because of what could emerge. I would really recommend just waiting and being patient. But if you see our chart here, there is still a short box in this area. I guess it's the top of this bear flag up here. So perhaps if it makes another move higher, that could create that opportunity in this instrument BTCZ. Okay, and that means this would go down a little further, right? It would go down a little further on a very shallow connector. So we would assume it would drop to 275, and that would be too. So I don't know if it would go down that far, but it would have a nice little nosedive, right? Because Bitcoin would jump from 90 to 100,000 or something like that. So Bitcoin would move up 10%. So this would drop 20%. So yeah, probably maybe it won't move that much. Let's take another look. It looks like, to me, 5 waves down. So, I mean, unless I'm missing something, this could support that whipsaw situation, right? Because you would have 3 waves down, 1, 2, 3, right? And then you would have some kind of connector, right? And then the lower low here would create downside. So I think, if you really look at this could be a clue that perhaps that whipsaw price action may be a little more valid than we think, because that would do this, right? This would Bitcoin 76,000, Bitcoin pumps unexpectedly, and then it crashes, the real crash. So maybe something like that. If I interpret the chart this way, so this would tell you that it's gonna fall, right? It's gonna have a bigger, but that's gonna be a false, what we call it, a bear trap in Bitcoin, and then a bull trap, a sucker's rally. So I think this is what I see, because if I made this 5 waves, then this would imply we would go down to 240. So what is Bitcoin going to go up, 25% in one go at it? Right? I don't think so. Okay? Right. So I think it's either, what's interesting about interpreting this is that means either Bitcoin's going to do the whipsaw we talked about, come down and come out, then crash, or it's going to, pump another 20% from here, which would be about what's 20% of 90? So like 18,000, right? So that would be about 108,000. That pumps you back up to around here. So that would mean it would do this, and then boom, and then collapse. So I think for Bitcoin to do this, the markets would really have to surge higher and the dollar index fall, but we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that yet. So I think we'll go with discount. So I think we're going to go with for BTCZ, we're going to go with something like this for now. And again, it may do even something more crazy, right? Maybe this can go higher, and Bitcoin could crash. So, let's say that $50,000 target or $48,000 target we have, and then it bottomed, and then then this drops, and Bitcoin's going to new all-time highs. So this is also possible. So that's why I think I can't just say, oh, this changes my mind. No, I think if anything, this supports the view that Bitcoin is probably going to have upside that hasn't happened yet before. Like either it's going to come back down to those low levels and then bottom, or it's going to whipsaw and then trap all these new buyers and then collapse. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The only other interpretation that I can think of that's it would be put the X there and then make this another 3 waves down, and that would also potentially do it. But I think when I look at it, this bounce is correct the whole move. So that's why I think we're still in X, and that's why I still think it's gonna whip around. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I don't recommend trading it, but good luck to you. All right, that's enough on that one. Solana. So Solana, let's take a look at how that one's doing. We're looking for this kind of capitulation move down to this box. It only shows 3 waves up. Once we break 122.48, it should be game over. Look at all these wicks, these bearish wicks. So it's slowly falling apart here. It's slowly falling apart. So the question is, check divergences. See that peak? That's B. You can't. If you can't. You got to take that out. You're not. Look. It's rolling over on the daily. You see that? It's bearish. And again, I know people don't want to hear the weathermen, telling you there's a storm coming, but you need to prepare. There's a storm coming. I'm telling you guys, there's a storm coming here. Okay, and don't shoot the messenger. But this is where we are, and this is the count on the big. We were correct in this whole leg. It ended up being a big double correction. And it needs more downside. Okay, it just needs more downside, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, too many people bought it up here because they thought they were going to get rich, and now the market is punishing them into capitulation, and that's the typical, cycle for the day trader. Out they buy at the top, and then they sell at the bottom. Right, that's what happens. Right. We had to buy here at 156, and we called, I think, the day of the peak of 5 using our count, and that's what happened. That's what happened. But everyone bought here for some reason. Most people online, and they decided to buy here, and then they're going to lose it all again. And now it's jammed up under this resistance, and so now you're going to get some kind of capitulation move. All right. Then SBET, capitulation risk if ETH crashes. So if ETH is one that I was looking at that's got this also this situation. We came off of a major low with a higher high, with a flat with a higher high. So long term, I will be shocked if this is not higher in the future. Shocked, okay? But many traders won't enjoy those gains because they'll blow themselves up in this, what's about to happen. So what I think is going to happen here is you have 3 waves down and you're in a connector wave right now for this leg. We know we got another leg lower, okay? How it plays out. If this peak is in, like we said in Bitcoin, and the market's just going to crash, it's just going to come down. And that's why I say the question mark. It's going to drop. It probably will break this low. And then it's either going to whipsaw back up to 4,000 and then crash, or it's just going to crash to the target. So again, you're trading in a zone that most people won't navigate or understand how to. But if you're patient and wait, I think you're going to get it down here. So the question is, where does SBET go? Well, I think it kind of follows that same kind of structure where it could rise, fall, come up, and then come back down. Ultimately ending up probably back somewhere down in this area. That's what I think could happen. So you're either going to get this whipsaw and find support here, and then a big rally that would be a massive bull trap and then a catastrophe, or it's just going to capitulate and you're going to go right down to these levels. We don't, and this is the same conversation. And then so 2 is either going to be here or it's going to just happen in the next 30 to 40 days. So we don't know. Unfortunately, this is the part of Elliott wave theory. You just aren't going to know this. So the way to trade it as a trader is, if you have no position, is you're going to have to wait. And then if you have a position, you just have to prepare and expect for this. And then you are married to, the coin. And these coins, I mean, there's no guarantee they ever go back up, right? But I think it will, but I can't guarantee it. So I think this is kind of the look that I'm seeing right now. So just like Bitcoin and everything else, that could be the bottom. Why am I not showing this as the bottom and telling you, oh, everything's going to be perfect? Because of the market backdrop and everything else I said. The market, the technology still going lower, and just kind of the dollar index pushing higher. If those things weren't true, if we saw technology breaking out, the Dow Jones recent divergence, and we saw, the dollar index breaking its pivot down lower, that major low that we have from several months ago, not this recent one, then maybe my forecast, then maybe I would say, hey, you know what, maybe crypto's going to hold up here. So I don't think it's going to, though. So I think this is a kind of the chart. I would say expect this, but prepare. You need to prepare for lower prices. So the capitulation risk is this level, this cluster of support in this area, $3, $2, somewhere in there. Okay, then let's go to the next question, SOXS. So to understand that one, we want to go to the SMH a little bit and just show you where the SMH is. So semiconductors is going to be the key to this equation. So I have this in a more bullish count in a 1-2-1-2 that shows the future is going to be okay. Now some people don't believe in this count. Some people don't. The count they have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 is done. That means the whole thing is over. The whole thing, the whole enchilada, it's all over. And that means a spectacular collapse, right? Because the nature of the semiconductor cycle is booms and busts, right? Big crashes. So this would be no different on a much larger time frame. So we would expect it to drop probably back down to below $100 when it's all said and done. This somewhere around this area over maybe years. Now, I don't think that's the case, but we will get that bearish if we have to. But I do think right now we called it for elite members a flat. We didn't, trying to find that right peak is tough, but it looks like we have it now. So the SOXS is a buy now against this peak. So as long as the market is below this peak, any rally can be shorted in the SMH until you get to the next target. The next target area would be somewhere around 300 to 77, which is kind of the target we wanted all along. And it just, what happened is it made a lower low, so buyers bought in too early and didn't fully capitulate, and now they're trapped. And now they're going to panic, and they're going to be the ones to break through this resistance, and this would be the area we're looking for. So the trade SOXS, you kind of have to be looking at this chart. If you look at the SOXS chart, we also show a higher high, and then it finally ended. Right, it ended on this move, right? So now it should make it swing back up, right? It's just the mirror image of what we just saw, right? It's the mirror image. And now we should come higher. How high can it go? Well, we don't know. We won't expect it to do too much, right? But maybe it can get to $5.71, $6, somewhere around there. So we'll keep an eye on it, but that's the count. But now that we have a reversal, if it pulls back, it's an impulse. So so semis may get a bid next week, right? I said Nasdaq could make a wave too. It could bounce. We could bounce. I showed you how, but this too could be buyable, right? Around $3 or sub 3, as long as you're above 280. Then you can try to play this. We can try to play this as a buy. Okay. All right, that's that one. And then Dogecoin, I haven't looked at it recently, but we can take a look at it real quick and see. My chart may not be up to date on it. Let's see what we've got going on here. So obviously that's the most important low. It has to hold that low, or it's essentially a go to zero altcoin, and it is what it is. And again, don't shoot the weatherman. If this can hold up, we would expect a rally soon, right? Because if that's the peak, right, we're not going to be able to see the subdivisions in something like this. So you just got to assume that's 5 waves, okay? So you have to assume that's 5 waves, and now you need to say, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, there's your connector. So you have the 3-wave move down, and now we're looking for where's the right level. So you can see we never got to that level yet, but you see this kind of consolidation. Again, our buyers buying it too soon. So I'm going to draw this level just to keep it on our screen. And then you have 3, and then you have another 3 right there. So I would say, did it truncate? So we'll look at divergence and see how did that look. See how the daily cycle, if the daily cycle would have erased divergence on that low right there, it didn't. I would be more, I would say, it could maybe have truncated. I don't think it has. So I think when I look at this chart, you have a very shallow connector, right? A very small connector right here developing. So the box's not really relevant anymore. So I think the way I would label this is something like right, and then another W here, and now you're an X. And again, here's the thing: if it can't bounce anymore, and if that X is done here, it's going to make a run for these lows. It's going to try to break these lows or come close. If it can make another move higher and give you a little bit more upside, that could lift the target, and that may help support this. So again, this is kind of like this tough area we're in right now in the market. If Solana's a clue, we would say its X is done. We would have to, because it doesn't seem like the altcoins want to pump, but I can't say they won't for sure. I can't say absolutely, because we're in the middle area. So we're either going to do this and then drop, or it's already done, and it's about to really capitulate, and it could break these lows. And if it breaks these lows, again, just kind of big picture, you have WXY, so this would be a big W, an X, and then you would be forming your first W, and then you'll get an X and a Y. So this would just kind of go into the abyss, right? It would just kind of fade into the abyss and be in a bear market. It would be in a bear market. Rallies they'll happen. They'll happen, and some of them may be pretty big, because what will happen is when this cycle completes, let's say we break this low, obviously that won't be 2 anymore. This whole cycle will be finished at some point, right? This whole thing, when that cycle finishes, you're going to have a really big rally, right? You'll have a big rally. So it isn't like it's not tradable. It's just the structure of the market, right? It really messes it up. So unfortunately, is what it is, and we'll see if buyers can step in on it. And then the next one is this HYMC. This one played out like according to plan. I tried to do the count. It looks like a big extended fifth wave, maybe one more high. I mean, so you could be at the tippity top. The tippity top. And we've been tracing this all the way from down here. So, I mean, now we would expect a pullback and then more upside. So we would expect, if this is the top in 5, we would expect it to come all the way back down to this area somewhere in here, or hit this trend line. And then it's, then the real money is being made. Like, this would be nothing. So I think you see the divergences here, okay? And I worry. You see all that divergence. So as of now, you're in a 5 of a 5. You're in the end of the move, the very end, if this is valid. But we always know, and this is where people get Elliott waves all wrong, because they see this and they go, I'm going to put my whole stack short with margin. And then it just explodes because it erases divergence. So there's no trade action. There's no trade idea here. I'm just giving you what I think the count is. I'm not encouraging anyone to short it here. I'm not telling you, to sell your whole stack. I'm just telling you that this is likely to correct and then find more upside later. And that's what this is saying at the moment. The time to buy it was back here, right? And if you haven't taken any profit, maybe you want to take some now, right? Maybe not all of it, because if you're patient enough, I think you'll get this other move, because you're showing 5 moves off the major low, right? But you may have to be patient and watch it go down. All right, the next question is, let's take a look here. Let's take a look here at MSOS. Well, guys, I think on my channel I said multiple times, you're one tweet away from being blown up on the short side. One tweet. And what did Trump do? He didn't do anything. He just tweeted, or, whatever. He put on his True Social, on X, that he's going to more than likely reschedule marijuana. And there you go. I mean, that's why I was always saying, like, I would never short it, because you're always you're a few keyboard clicks away from being blown up. And then again, you can say, I changed my mind, and this will just collapse. But the technicals here look like, since you haven't broke this high yet, but once you break this high, it should open up your upside in wave 3. So could it actually come back down? It can. It actually could. It could be a big flat and come back down here. Do I think it will? Probably not. I think it's probably a real breakout. If we have 3 waves down here, and when we look at it, we erased divergence on that low, so it was a very technical correction. It looks like it was a little deeper than we thought. And like we told all our members, especially elite members who followed this, we got it on the day of the breakout. Literally, we watched it come all the way down, and as soon as it broke out and it pulled back, I was like, this is over. If you want to buy it, go long now. Go long now. this is the time to buy it. And then throughout this whole thing, I've said take partial profit, but don't just hold it. Make the market take you out. And this is a good example of trying to get cute and time the market. Trying to not buy it not buy it where you need to, because if you bought it here, what happened here wouldn't even affected you. Who cares? They're just you're sitting pretty in your position, and because you're nowhere near this. It isn't like you entered the market up here. And the other thing is, this goes to show you why trying to trade in and out and time the market is foolish. So like just an example on this stock, it could be the same conversation. Oh, I'm going to try to get cute. I'm going to time the market and sell everything here and get back in here. And then you're going to miss a big breakout at some point, because I think this will happen. And this is why I always encourage my members to be patient. Buy at the right level, which is usually very early, which allows you to withstand these kind of issues, these movements, and then just let the market take you out. Take some profit, obviously, have something to show in case it didn't work out, and then whatever you have left in there, just let it ride. Let it see what happens. And now you're like, great, because now that it broke out, remember our target, I guess this is no way I'm smoking marijuana target, $20 is now in play. Now you see a path to get there. All of a sudden, it's like, oh. But a lot of people will never see those kind of gains because they're trying to time the market, and they're not patient enough. So the strategy of our system is very simple. We buy things early right off of a correction or in a box. We sell partial profit, and then we hold. And we don't overtrade it. We don't time it. We don't trade in and out and back in and out. We don't do that. We just wait and let the full cycle play out, because you never know. And this is a good example of that, because you just never know. With that all said, nothing actually happened from what I understand. Is just like happy talk. And so happy talk can go away. So you could say, oh, I want to short it here. And if it was just happy talk, that would be a hell of a short, because it will just collapse in a big three-wave move, right? It will collapse. But if it's true, it won't. It's going to be in a new bull market for who knows how long. But now real money can flow into it that couldn't normally invest in this space, because now it's now that he's done that. So or says he's going to do it. Okay, IXHL. So I think this one, unfortunately, is in a corrective. We saw it in 3. We never got a 5. We got 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 down. And now it broke this low. So now it should make another push lower. But I have a feeling when I looked at it, I think it's going to whipsaw back up here and then collapse. So I don't think that's done. I think because you're correct in this whole leg, I wouldn't be surprised for one more push higher. And we have seen before in these penny stocks, they squeeze, and sometimes they can squeeze pretty significantly. But I think it would fail like all the other squeezes and go down. LAW looks like it's in a 5th wave, getting close to finishing its major push higher. Unfortunately, let's take a look at what we have here on the daily. 4-hour taking out a little divergence. Yeah, maybe we need to be a little more bullish on our interpretation. It would be nice to see the daily take it out. I think we'll do that. I think we'll be more bullish on it. I think we'll go with that. Let me look at this. Yeah, we'll go with a more bullish interpretation. Looking at it. Right. And that's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe 3 gets a little bit another high and something like this. But obviously it should extend. ITRG also in a 5, and it looks like we're in a 3 of 5. But let's check the divergences just to make sure. Okay, that's definitely a 5 and a 5. Yeah, very, very dangerous. So this is very dangerous because we can be off by a swing. So this one definitely has a much, this one definitely looks very much like a fifth wave. Yeah, that's actually 3 right there. And then if I do this, it's done. No more, I'm out. I'm out of labels. You know, I would say 7 out of 10 times when this happens, it usually collapses. Not all that. Sometimes like I said, my labels are wrong, but I'm out of labels. So let's hope it doesn't collapse on Monday. All right, KHC. I think this one looks okay. I think it has a little more downside. This has 5 waves off a major low. We have to back into the low on this because if this isn't the low, then what is it going bankrupt? You know, like, so it looks like 5 waves up. So we're just going to say that's the low. 5 waves up, 1, 2, 3, WX, and then we need another push down. The reason we need another push down is this has an erased divergence. This cluster here needs, this RSI needs to come down and take out that peak. When it does that, it's over. The correction should be done. So I think you're still in C, and it's probably going to go lower into this box. But you need to be looking for capitulation. So this is probably some kind of 1, 2, 1, 2 count. My guess. So I'm thinking maybe 21, you know, somewhere around there. Let's see if there's chart support. Maybe, yeah, maybe around here. Let's take a look. Yeah, 21.95, 22.72. What you need is a sharp move down, a capitulation move. And again, if it breaks this low, then obviously they must have mismanaged their own company too, because then this would be a W, X, Y. I mean, it would just, I mean, I don't know. It just need I guess a bailout or something. MKRL has been playing out okay. I updated this wave count. It still looks like there's more upside, but you could be at another peak here at any moment. This would be a higher degree. This 4, if you look at this 2, so this could take some time. So it could be in a top-in process. I don't like how you didn't get a lot of separation in that 3. So is there a chance? Is there a chance it's another 1, 2? There could be. So this is more conventional view, but there's also another way to label this as another 1, 2, and then it explodes out. Let me check that on the wave 3 divergences here. Yeah, if we look at this chart, most of the higher peaks came much earlier in the cycle. So I suspect that's the count. So looking at that, I think we'll update that as the most likely path. So I don't think you've seen the real 3 yet. I think you haven't seen the real wave 3 yet. So I think what you're going to see is a peak. So you should see a pullback of this cycle. But I bet it's a 2, another 2. And comes out. All right, something like that. All right, GNRC. We have a higher high here, so I think this would be supported for at least one more push higher, right? But then you have a lower low. So I think this is, again, just going to do something, you know, kind of, you know, real choppy. And then just hopefully find a low somewhere down here. But I think it's got more upside. And RUNN is also Sunrun. So I think solar is going to double correct. We're seeing energy break down. If energy and oil break down, solar almost always follows. Almost always. So the next box in Sunrun is right at 1459, and there's your wave 4. So maybe somewhere in this box. But you do have 5 off the low, and so does solar. So take it for what it's worth. This could be a bottom-in process, right? Left shoulder head, this could be a right shoulder. So this, again, may take a lot of time to develop and come out. And maybe in 2 years from now, we'll look back, and then people will be upset they didn't buy it. But this is what I talk about, buying something early and then just holding and just being patient and hold. Okay, so this may be that situation. USAR looking like it ended up potentially in a flat. So it missed. We had a target in mind with this lower low that didn't meet it, but that's always, anytime you get a lower low in the market, that means the market got ahead of itself. It didn't allow full capitulation. Buyers bought it too early before all the sellers left, and now it's coming back down. So I think it's coming back to our box that we had, and it's in a flat. So that's probably what happened here, and I would expect more downside. Okay, now the problem is you don't really have chart support until 1357. So with flats, they can go pretty deep. They don't have to stop, but typically what I've noticed in this market, they tend to stop around this general area, but they don't always do that. So I think the box for now will be here, and I would be looking for more downside if in the flat, because this move down is too sharp, I think, not to be. And the other count would be a 1 2 1 2, and that means on Monday it moons, right? Because this would be 3 waves. I don't think so. You see how we end it? No divergence. It doesn't really look like you impulsed off of it. So I think it's going to make you see that again. It's going to make a more elaborate right shoulder maybe. And again, what happened? People bought it. I'm going to be rich, and now they're going to get blown up. And again, this could still go down, but I have a feeling this low will hold. Tilray is kind of the same count as everything else we have. Tilray breaking out, obviously showing 5 up. And again, on our live stream, we literally called the buy here. It was 30 cents. They've reverse split since then, but now it's just kind of been in this devastating correction, and now it's coming out in an impulse. So we have to assume the low is in, right? We have to assume low's in for now. But like I said, would I go short it? No, because Trump, if he follows through on it, it's not coming back down. If you short it, you're basically saying he's bluffing. It was happy talk to manipulate the market for whoever, or So I think we'll go with this count for now. Okay. And we'll see something like this, and it should continue higher, assuming what he said wasn't happy talk. Now, if this is 3, that could be corrective. So again, if we don't get the 4 and 5, then this could be just a connector, and then this does go back to 0. So the market's kind of like an MSOS and Tilray going, we believe you, but we don't. We don't. So I think the next week is going to be key. Are you going to get the 4 and 5, or is it going to be, it was just a bunch of fluff and whatever, and now it's just going to collapse. So I think with a breakout like this, as strong as we've seen it, it seemed kind of believable to me. But then again, I believed a lot of things he's tweeted, and he's always gone back on. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. So I wouldn't trade the news. So the chart says it should go higher. CGC is the same kind of breakout. We followed it, literally counting the count all the way to the 5th wave, and now it's out. Once we take out $2, that should be that. It should be set the next cycle higher. Again, that's probably 3, right? So again, the same count, right? You only have 3 waves up. It can easily go all the way back down if the tweet is false tweet. And this bounce probably corrected this entire leg. So if that tweet's a false tweet, I mean, this surely is going to break. This is the last chance for this cannabis stuff, because if it's not going to happen, it's never going to. It's gone, and then this could be the last time to short it. But like you saw, a lot of people probably lost a lot of money who were short these stocks, and that's what happens. I mean, I warned everyone who asked these questions. You're 1 tweet away from being blown up if you're short on these. All right, Booz Allen Hamilton. I did the count on this one, and looking at it as a 5-wave move up from the grand super cycle, peaking here and then making a flat. The flat doesn't look like it's finished quite yet. I'd be targeting the historic trend line right around 64. It's almost certain to tag that in a grand super cycle decline. So that's going to be where I think it's going to try to find support around this 60, in the 60s. So I would expect more downside as this flat continues to play out. I think this one is a pretty straightforward. Again, it can always morph into something different, but it doesn't look like it's a complete, it's complete yet. And then we talked about the SMH. Let me go back through some of the chats, make sure I didn't miss some of them. I know there's some new ones that came in. Let me just look at DEO, TEO. All right, so that one looked pretty good, and then it has some problems. So right away, when you look at the weekly, you see that cluster of RSI. You really want that down. So that tells me either this is a massive fifth wave, or you haven't had capitulation yet. So it could be one or the other. But we need to look at the monthly too. Monthly cycle shows a little divergence at the bottom. So this is an impulse down. So this is some kind of 5 waves down. So the only way you can end a correction from here would be a flat. And then you would come up to this peak, and you don't really see 3 defined waves, and it can't be a flat from here. I don't think so. It wouldn't make sense. It's not a flat from this peak. So I suspect this is going to be a complex correction that's going to take a lot of time. So I have a feeling A is about finished, and you're going to get a bounce, and you probably years later get another leg down. So you probably have a big rally coming soon. Consumer, non-dual, these type of stocks I think are going to rally, but I think the rally will one day fail, and that one day may be like years from now. Let's take a look here. See that? Interesting. But we did break that low. I would normally not call a flat off of this peak, but I think we have to. I think we have to call a flat. I wasn't going to. I thought it would be too big of an extension, but when you really look at it and look at the wave, let me go back to the monthly and see. Yeah, maybe that's not the right count, because you see the peak here is here. There's no peak, so this really isn't a third wave right here. It's not really a third wave. It's another 1-2 of some kind. And then I wouldn't put 3 there. So let's look at this wave. Now that one does look like a 3. That's a lot of capitulation. So 1-2. So maybe it's more like this. And then let's see here. So since we're above this peak, we're going to label it this way. We're going to label it this way. So like this would be 1, but this would be on the like super cycle degree, and then this would be another 1, and then 2, and this would be on a different degree as of now. And yeah, maybe it is a flat off of this peak. Let's take a look. Yeah, I like this count a lot better. So we'll go with this. This one I think works for me. Then you can see that impulse. So I think it bottoms any moment. I just don't know what's the catalyst. And again, I don't know what this, I don't drink their beer or whatever they make, or but what we do know is if oil's going down, inflation will go down, and their margins should improve, because let's face it, they're not going to be lowering their prices, right? They raised their prices because inflation, went up, and now if inflation goes down because oil oil's going down, right? A deflationary, situation emerges. Well, then we'll have to update. Let me do this. If a deflation, then they'll, I guess they'll make more money, and it's also considered like a more safe safety play, right? It's safer to buy these if the markets are pulling back in like technology. So 1, 2. Probably something like this. Let's look at that wave real quick. Yeah, see, we're off a little bit, so we have to fix that. So it's such a tight impulse. It's hard to do. This one is hard to just do by your eyesight. You have to actually take the time to do it. See, now it shows it's finished, and now you're in this final leg. It could be done, right? I could easily do this unless 3 is the shortest. It's done, right? So I don't know. I think. And when we look at these other stocks that are in the similar sector, they should be like ready to move higher. So I think it's close. Okay, do what's best for you. I can be wrong. Okay, next is ALB, the big picture. ALB. Oh, ALB, yeah, lithium. Well, lithium and like solar, that whole thing go together, right? And EVs and energy. So in the future, oil is going to be at $200 a barrel one day. Solar is going to be king. EVs, people will be begging for them like you can't believe. So they're going to need lithium. We're going to need lithium. And so ALB is going to be in a super cycle higher, right? It's going to be in up here. So the big picture is long-term investor. You shouldn't be day trading this stock. I mean, I don't know what else. And this is one of those things. It's like when we were in these boxes, this big pink box, and again, it was a real to test the conviction to hold through this all. But even when we came out, our elite group, we picked up the buy here, right? The market started to pull back. Look, this is November 3rd. The market's dumped, but we picked out the stock in our elite group that is probably one of the best performing in most of the market right now. I mean, look, it's essentially straight up, and we just we don't overthink it, right? We're still scratching our head, okay, it's going to do a flat, but it just keeps going higher. So we're just going to keep labeling it, not what we wish it to be, just like what's in front of us. I mean, I know this is very bullish, but I think, I mean, I can make it a flat off of any one of these peaks. So I would just think about, hey, if I can get a good dip, a good healthy correction, this is one you kind of probably just tuck away and you just hold it for a long time, years, right? But many investors and traders won't and they'll miss a lot of the gains because they're trying to get too cute time in the market. But this is ALB, FCX, the theme. These are the new FANG, the FANG of the future, right? The new FANG, Freeport McMoran, Albemarle, right? And I can pick a couple, those are the new FANG of the next decade, right? That's what's going to be hot. And everyone's going to love them. By 2030, everyone's going to say, you're going to read everyone online with 1 million followers are going to say, I told everyone to buy it, and they didn't. But I'm telling you now, so remember who's saying it. And then 2, all the retail is going to chase it up here because they're not going to want to hold through this and buy it. But the problem I have with lithium and all these other things right now, which is why I still think, and that's why I was still worried about, is it going to be a flat? Is it going to be a flat? Is oil's going down. And our forecast on oil is still lower as of now. Now that can change. But at some point this has to capitulate. And I think when it does, I would think the stocks like ALB and stuff will go down again. So I do think you're going to have a chance to get these if you missed a move. I think you have a chance to pick up AL. If you miss this move, I think you're going to have a chance to pick it up. All of them. One more time. I really do. I think you have a chance to pick it up. But then I think that's your last chance. Because once oil finds a low, the king of all commodities finds a low, it's going to start an energy super cycle. Okay? Why? Is it because our economies are so great? I don't know. Is it war in the Middle East? World War III? Maybe. Who knows why? But it is. It is because you can look at the fractal, guys. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, you're missing 3. It's going to come. And then this, someone may look at this as, you know, I wouldn't call it a cup and handle, but, you know, it's kind of like a bullish consolidation, you know, and a continuation, and then it breaks out. And it's going to likely tag this trend line here and here, and likely will tag this again before something like this, and then it will go into another secular decline. That's what's going to happen. When this moves, I don't know why it will do that. That's the only problem. I don't know where the world will be. I don't know if it's because GDP is just so hot and the economy is so amazing. Like I think back in 2004 and 5, it just overheated it with housing. You know, everyone's building houses and building stuff and pumping. But this is it. So if this happens, I think ALB and those green stocks and everything else are going to go down and correct. And that may be your last chance to buy them. Those are probably your last chance to pick those up. And then after that, it will shift the trade, and the energy will lead the way. Okay, so that's that stock. All right, let's take a look here. Crypto looks like it's going the mirror left shoulder trap. Buyers would convince them before hitting. Yeah, that would be the bigger pump. That would be the bigger squeeze. Maybe hit the top of the bear flag or even go beyond it if crypto does that. I think it needs to trap more buyer. I still am somewhat surprised, and like it would just crash from here. But I can't take that scenario out looking at the market backdrop right now. I think it's better to just, you know, understand that risk and then just kind of wait and see what the market does. And as long as IWM you know, is off that peak, but that's backing into the, you know, low essentially zone on TZA zone and APTC. Let's take a look at this one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a triangle 4. So one more low. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. So as of now, I don't like. Let's go back up. Yeah, I think it's in a triangle 4. And then it makes one more low, right? If it can take out C, then it's finished. If it could take out 37.4, then it's done. And then it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's out. Zone's pretty simple to me. ABTC, again, I know crypto's like, and I mentioned, it's like very enticing to trade it because it's interesting and it's like volatile. But I think if you're patient, you're going to get an incredible opportunity. If you're patient. Again, I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. So I think with this one, you just want to chart the waves until the waves end. So this wave count looks very similar to like we see with like some of the other crypto stocks out there. So something like that, right? Just kind of looking at the waves. So you've got some more room to go. I wouldn't personally start buying it until I know Bitcoin hit our target area. because it can easily extend. Like, I think this box is misleading. I don't want to give anyone the impression to buy it. I think you're just going to have to wait and let these waves play out. I don't know if I can explain UVXY. I don't trade it or follow that instrument, but let me see what it is again. It's I think it has to do with the VIX futures and the short-term futures. Let me see if yeah, why is it doesn't track the VIX? What's the time frame of the futures? I think the VIX is let me see here real quick. Yeah, let me see here. Let me look up the UVIX again. Let me go back and look at this one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not too familiar with it. Let me see here. So I'm looking up UVXY. I just want to understand what it is exactly. All right, so here's the explanation I could find. VIX covers the volatility of the S&P 500 over the next 30 days. And it's an index, and it's like a thermometer of market fear. As you know, you can't buy the VIX itself, but then UVXY is a short-term futures. It doesn't track the VIX directly. It holds VIX future contracts. It tracks short-term VIX futures, the front month plus the second month, and I think that's the key why it doesn't track it. It holds the second month, and it also uses 2 times daily leverage. So that also has decay. So the VIX tends to spike and then decline over days. Those kill those bear ETFs because the decay compounds each day, and they only will. That's why the bull ETFs do so much better, because their gains compound. So it's kind of the opposite on the reset, and that's really all I can say on it. So the only way I ever trade this is like if you get a breakout and you're back into the low and try to buy it. So like, okay, let's say the market's going to crash and you're going to buy it. So Friday you buy UVXY 42.31, you put your stop at 41.32. That's what you do. You don't try to ever bottom fish it. So once your stop is reached, you give it up, because look what can happen. But once you get a breakout, then you can try to buy the first pullback. So the only trading technique I can mention on these leverage volatility, bear volatility stocks here is wait for the breakout, buy the first pullback. And I've always done that and can make money on those. And then if you stop out, you got to walk away from it, because they can crush these things, for this 42 can become $1. I mean, that's what can happen over a period of time, months, even in the net. You see it here. I mean, but if you can catch it, right, catch a move, you catch a first pullback, like here's a breakout, you get a pullback, you buy that pullback, well then you get this. Okay, cool, right? And one day it probably won't stop. It will keep going, and that's what but I don't think you ever bottom fish these, ever. Okay. FAZ is probably close to a major bottom, and the financials close to a major top. And this is probably going to do what SOXS just did. It's almost the same chart, mirror image. It's the same chart, right? It's basically the same graph here. It's probably something like, it's the same graph. Like, it's going to do the same thing. Just the financials are still moving, and because the Dow Jones, they're kind of part of that Dow Jones Industrial Average group, and I even showed that the Dow Jones could still go higher. So this could still fall just a little bit more. So I would be expecting it though to really have a big push higher, and if that is C, we could try to do a count from it and just kind of see if we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could just kind of draw this out here. something like that. Yeah, so something like that. So like I said, I think it's really close, maybe a little bit more downside. And then JP Morgan would be at a major peak, right? JP Morgan is another one that just, again, your conscience tells you shouldn't be buying it here, but your greed in you says, I can't let it go. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at that. Again, you do have some bearish divergence from the major peak. Let's look at the shorter cycles. Oh, that's really dangerous. I mean, this is super dangerous. Look at that. That could be a massive fifth wave right here. So you could easily wake up and have this at 250 and not even know what happened. So when is that going to happen? I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to, there's a catalyst that's going to really annihilate these banks soon. I just don't know what it is. I wish I did. I would be telling everybody what the catalyst could be. I mean, maybe they're all, married to the AI. I was worried silver. They were short silver and something. And then I saw going around the internet, oh, JPM's long silver. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm like, who knows? I mean, but JP Morgan's at a major peak, right? It's close. It looks like, depending on where we draw it, let's take a look. So we probably call like 1, 2 down, way down here. This is 1, 2. You can't even see it, right? That's 1, 2. So that's 1, 2. And then this whole thing is the wave that's going to correct. So it's correct. It's going to correct a cycle that started since 1990 soon, more than likely. Let's take another look. Maybe, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe we'll say it's 2002. We'll say 2002. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. You see, now a lot of people would label this as a 3, 4, 5, and then it dropped. But the RSI doesn't support that because it never took out this low. Okay? That's why it extended so much, by the way. That's why people got all screwed up on that, because it was a series of 1s and 2s is what happened here. And then my guess, probably the same thing, another 1, 2. So my guess is this is the cycle we're correcting. That's ending. This one. This cycle is probably the one. But let's label it and see where we go with it. So here's a peak. That looks like a 3 right there. So let's do that. Put that 3 there. And that's probably 5. Now, the reason we don't put 5 here and put this 3 here is because these peaks didn't take out that peak. So it can't be the 3 of 3. We haven't seen the 3 of 3 yet. So we see this massive extended fifth wave. That's what we have. Okay? That's what we have. Going back to 2022. So now the question is, when is that going to end? Let's take a look. See pretty soon. It's going to end soon. So it's a blow off top, right? This extended fifth waves are blow off tops, and that's what we're seeing here, and that's why the move can be so devastating. So probably one more high. That should do it. Probably running flat right here. And now you got 5. So the question is probably just a little bit more upside to go. That could have been the peak right there. Well, I'm sorry, no, yeah. So we're gonna have to take out that high. So I think it's got just a little more upside. Okay. Right. But not much more. Right, and I probably could draw a line connecting the peaks like that, something like that. And again, what this all will be, again, why won't I label that 3? Because we never took out these peaks. So this would be another 1, 2. So you would have like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and this would be a 1, 2 as well. So what it tells you is the future will be really good for the market, but could be a banking crisis emerging before that future is realized. So that's what this chart is telling me. It tells me a lot of investors are going to be trapped. So there's a banking crisis coming, guys. It's gonna definitely be scary, but just if you look at this chart again, we'll label the right degree. So this degree would be let's see here, call it because that's 1, 2, 3. So again, I'll fix the degrees later, but you get it. The reason I have it labeled like this, and likely when this drop comes, it should stay above this low right there. So this RSI. Now, the only other count that's more bearish is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 3 is right here. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then this whole thing is a 5. And that's so bearish. If that's the case, we would be expecting then JP Morgan is gonna go bust, because that would take it all the way back down to single digits. That would mean it blew it's beyond the banking crisis. Like it's gonna fail. So I'm not ready to ever say that, but this is bad enough. So I think we'll go with this count for now, guys. Okay. So if you believe the grand super cycle is over in JPM, then it could potentially go to single digits. If you believe my chart, it won't. It will stop around the 2022 lows. And again, that's only the 2022 lows. It's just that's how much they pumped this thing. And now that pump is going to disappear and it's going to come back down here. It's going to feel like a catastrophe, but really we're just coming back to the 2022 lows. That's all. So I think that's more realistic. Okay, so we'll go with that for now. And if as we fall, it looks like oh my God, this is what's happening, then we can update our chart, and we will. But I don't know why I would ever, call JPM going to single digits without understanding idea, what's the fundamental idea behind it, because I just can't think of it yet. Now I can understand why this will go down. Like, why are the banks going to get hit hard? Because they've overextended, and then interest rates, there's going to be higher rates in the future, and it's going to be a lot of, problems, rolling over, debt and getting, and then also recession potentially coming. So there's a lot of challenges coming. And again, maybe they are short silver, God knows, and that could hurt them, because the future we're going to see higher commodity prices. So if they have a habit of shorting commodities, they're going to be blown up in that. So they're going to have to break that habit. So they're going to have to break that habit, and maybe they won't break that habit. Maybe that's what this is saying. I don't know. Okay, BYND. All right, Beyond Meat. Yeah, it's a go to zero stock. I'm not sure, it's not so, again, these stocks don't interest me. I usually just throw these charts away, but if you look at it, it has 3 waves down, a big pump, and now it looks like it's wanting to just go to zero, right? You know, it's, so I would be looking to short it if you could find an opportunity, but to me, on the shorter time frame, it looks like you have a 3 up here, 3 down, and you made a lower low. So the move's lower. So it's ready to break down again. So it's, I would look for another, at least another leg lower from this peak. I would go for another leg lower on this peak. And then maybe you can get another rally out of it. But I mean, 1, 2, 3, a connector. So if I was labeling it for one of our groups, I would just label it like this. And then I would have this and that. And then we would have like an A, B, C, you know. And then this looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 3 of 3. So I would be looking for something like that. FSDAX. We'll see if we have enough data. Looks like we do. All right. So obviously, again, same question with JP Morgan. In your conscience, think about it. Does this look like a great place to put your whole 401k in? I don't think so. I mean, I know, like, I'm not, I mean, do what's best for you, but I mean, look, I mean, is it, because you can just keep going up forever? I guess it could, but you see that peak. Now that's the 3-4. There's your bearish divergence, right? So you probably are right around the end of the move, right? So let's label it. Let's label it. It looks like an ABC, ABC, and either it's finished or it will surprise us with one more move higher. Since it's an ABC, you're not going to see divergence at these peaks and within that leg. So it could be done. That could be the peak. Massive top. We are starting to see some selling in this sector, heavier than I've seen in the past, but nothing that, like, you know, is worrisome. So it's either, again, so you see how you have 3 waves, 3 waves. This could still do 3 waves. So I don't want to say, I mean, it could be the top, but it could make another whipsaw move higher and then finish the top of all time. So it could still do that. So there is a possible move. It looks like it's trying to do that right now. And I think we can look at the RSI on the higher time frame. You see the monthly, it's rolling over. So the bear market's about to begin in this sector. Bear market's about to begin. So I would just think about that. Yeah, maybe it's going to try to make another push higher. Maybe one last hurrah. Okay. Well, good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah, I mean, if let me look one more time. Yeah, see, I'm gonna label it like 3 wave and in diagonal. Okay. Hertz. Oh yeah, well, I haven't looked at that in a while. Let's take a look. How's Bill Ackman's investment doing? All right, has to stay above 210. I don't like these candles. I see a lower low. It looks like it's got more downside, but maybe it may stay supported. It looks like a bull flag almost. Maybe it could hit 311, somewhere around there, if that's the connector. Hard to say where the connector is on this. Either that's the connector or here. I think when I look at it, it's not done going lower. But I think the key is to stay above this low, 240. I would just look at this as like a bull, like some kind of bull flag, right? And maybe it tags that down here. Yeah, I still think it could come out of whatever this is, whatever mess this is, for now. So the question is, well, this looks like it's got something bullish in its future. Not sure why. Don't know what it will do or how Bill could reinvent it. Who knows? But right now, see how these waves overlap? The trend wants to go higher. So I think it's got at least another swing up, and then maybe it still could collapse. But that's kind of how I look at it. I still think it can go higher. Thanks, Silver. I'm glad the live stream's working out for you guys. Yeah, we've been highlighting it. I've told so many people about it. So the long-term outlook, this is a more conventional view. Now, this could still need one more push higher. This could be a 4 in this fifth wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now this type of move down does typically how the top starts, but tomorrow on Monday will be important, or Sunday night. It's gonna be important to see what happens here. It could have topped. So if it topped, we're gonna go into a 4. And then again, this is a more conventional view. There's obviously a more aggressive view. Something like this, right, will happen. We don't put 3 here. So it's a 1, 2, 1, 2. And then the silver, bull's dreams come true, right? Then you get the big breakout. Now, that's the long range view. That's the view I've always had. Traders will trade in and out. They'll get bored of it. They'll forget about it. And then one day you'll wake up and it's for some reason gone. Now, we know bigger view, cup and handle, is this amazing chart pattern. This is called the mother of all cup and handles. Goes back since 1980. Broke out convincingly, and now it's got to consolidate. So we tend to, when you see charts like this, one of the things I like to look at is what are fractals? What has it done in its path? Like, because they tend to follow the same kind of fractal. So here's an example, and it's hard to see because you don't see a lot of the data, but similarly here, you had a big cup, right? A big cup. I didn't see a handle, so no, it just looked like a big cup. And this data goes back a long time, right? Long ways. Early 1900s, it comes out. Comes out in 1966, 67, breaks out to here, right there. And then what happens is a long consolidation period, right? It broke out in 68, and then it consolidated to 71. So it took 3 years. And then it was go time. So I think my guess is silver right now is where this arrow is. This is where silver is right now. And what silver's got to do is do what it has coming is that, or something similar. And that's my guess. So silver is going to consolidate those gains, maybe over 2 or 3 years. It could be the same, it could take years. And then maybe toward the end of our decade, go time. And then it rises and then has another consolidation, and then it finishes. So silver is a long-term hold. Long-term hold, long-term hold. And people always ask me, should I buy paper or the hard silver? I say buy both. Have both. Have both, because paper silver you can trade it in and out real quick, right? You can sell it. The actual metal is a lot more challenging, but this is it. So I'm going with this chart. So I do think it'll peak, come down, make another high, maybe in the 70s, and then even a bigger. So it's going to do something like this. This is what I think it's going to do. Okay. And next is bull. I remember we were looking at that the other day. We found, I don't even remember, there was like a speculative idea on this. I don't even know if it turned out. I haven't looked at it. It looks like it worked out. Looks like it worked out, the speculative idea we had. So I hope if you were the one that asked, hopefully it worked out for you. So now basically I would just hold it against 754 and make the market take you out. This is like MSOS. You make the market take you out. If you try to get cute trading in and out, you could be missing big gains. So my recommendation would be partial profit if you bought it down here, and then make the market take you out. Now here is interesting. See how we erased divergence? Not good. Not good. So we'll relabel it, but that's a corrective move. That's corrective. Okay. So so that's something you'll need to think about as you do trade it. So if it's corrective, it can go a couple ways. I think we'll just do this real quick to make it less confusing. If it's corrective, right, it can go all the way back down and break these lows. Easy. If it's the bottom, it can make a leading diagonal off the low and do that in 3, 3, 3 and be in a new bull market. But it can also do a double correction higher. Right? All those are possibilities. So if it were going to do any of those, right, that's your connector. It should bottom, you should bounce here, and then we'll see where it goes. So I think right now it's a little worrisome. It went back below this line. I guess the prior all-time low. So it couldn't stay above, flip this resistance. It failed. It's only in 3. So I think, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back and breaks the lows, but I can't rule out more upside either. So as a trader, if you bought it down here, you took some profit, I would just let the market take you out. And because if it doesn't, it may be surprised with a double correction higher and be happy. So that'll be a personal decision you'll have to make. UVIX was... they're trying everything they can to keep that from moving higher. It's in like a cluster of Fibonacci level support. I mean, it's in a massive area where it should find support, technical support. Now it hasn't yet. Friday it rallied. Now they pushed it down. Now this is what I talk about. A shorter degree cycle ended. Let's see which one. The cycle, so the cycle that ended on Friday was this cycle from December 10th. Okay, so it's not the big cycle. So we correct it. All we did is correct this leg. That's it. Now, if you believe the UVIX, it's go time, and it's going to correct the whole thing like I have here. Well, this is the first pullback into that low. You buy it, and then you just put your stop at 692, because you're never going to time the bot, right? And then if this breaks, well, then guess what? This is just going to take a whole nother leg lower, and it's going to go deeper. So, the only thing I can tell you here is the reaction higher was good, but we need follow through. If you get follow through, then I think this is a major low. If you don't, it just keeps getting crushed, and the market will probably rally more. So that's where the UVIX is. I still think it's in a big 3-wave move, and it's going to whipsaw back up. And when you really zoom out, right, I think that's what it's going to do. I think it's going to do that, and then after this, who knows? But that's what I think it's going to do. But again, time in the low is tough. So the only strategy I can recommend is when you see a big move like this, you can try to buy the first pullback against the low when the risk is low enough for you personally. I mean, some people would buy it here. They're like, oh, I can take that risk. But Friday's buying it at 714 on Friday, that may be, hey, you know what? That's a good risk reward setup, because yeah, there's gap down risk, of course, but I'll take that risk because the upside could be really nice. So the VIX was also showed the same bounce. Now the VIX took out this, which was that's also could be a sign of a trend change. So the VIX maybe confirmed the larger cycles over. Let's see. Not quite yet. So we need follow through to the downside early next week. If not, the market will make another push higher. And tech may not make, but tech could just make that wave too. We talked about that. Tech could make this wave too. The Dow Jones could make another push higher. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think we'll know Monday how that will play out. I think we'll know Monday. All right, and then KRE. So the KRE, I'm looking at it kind of just again big picture. 5 up. See this big extended fifth wave? I still see it in some kind of third wave here. 3 waves, I think it's going to do a flat and it's going to come back down to these lower areas. I don't think it's. If I said the KRE is ready to break out, that means the markets are ready. It's go time. It's like the markets are going to surge. This is like the Russell going, IWM going to 350. I mean, this would be like if I said that this was a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, I would be telling you, you know, this is going to be a massive bull market in like regional banks is just going to be huge. And it just doesn't align with the market forecast right now. It just doesn't align with everything else you see in the market. And if interest rates go higher on the long end too, we're seeing not the short end, the long end. I don't think that's good for these regionals, for the Russell Index, which is in the regional bank sector, you know, because it was in 2022, remember, that these things collapsed. So just understand that. And a lot of people are like, well, the Fed's easing, Fed's lowering rates. But one bad inflation report away from that never being in the conversation again, no matter how much Trump bullies them. So those interest rates and QE, happy talk and stuff, that can disappear real fast with a really bad CPI report. And there is something fishy going on with the government not dropping the data. I get it that they weren't open, but that's never affected this before getting those reports out. So, you know, maybe what's in that information in that report is not something we want to see, or they don't want out. But it's coming out eventually. If that news, if it's bad news, is going to emerge, and people are going to have to deal with it. So there you go. So this is it. I think the regionals are going to do this. We need to erase divergence. We haven't quite done that yet. We're close. The weekly, I would like to see it on the daily. So maybe one more, like we saw with XLOF, one more high, like one more pop higher, one more, a little bit higher. A little bit higher. I think in the minors, you need to be really careful. I have wave 5s all over the place. Wave 5s, silver miners, gold miner. I have wave 5s everywhere. There's another one. Okay, so again, and I don't like that candle either. Maybe one more high, one more. Let's just do the waves and see. Yeah, one more high. Yeah, maybe one more. One last. Get every dollar from everybody out there. Yeah, maybe one more. You know, I could be off by a swing. I remember my silver count also showed maybe I could have one more marginal high too. So then what happens? It is, you see how long this consolidation took? It's going to do the same thing. Now, I bet it's going to be another 1-2. I have a feeling that won't be 3-4. I have a feeling it'll be 1-2, 1-2. And I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back to $12. And it consolidates these gains for a year on all 2026. There's your wave 4 cluster. So this will be your major support right here. So right now, it's this. This is the count. So I think if you're super patient and you have a long multi-year time frame horizon, you hold it. And if you're a day trader, it's time to be cautious. If you haven't taken profit, like we gave a box here at 10.25. If you bought it there, it's probably time to take some money off the table, right? And then maybe you let a little bit ride, because hell, you never know. Because we have seen extensions before, and it could always extend as well. So that's why buying it early and trading that in that way is better than just, other systems where you may buy or sell randomly. Okay. Let's take a look at DocuSign. Yeah, DocuSign is a rotation play that I think the market's trying to rotate into some of these oversold software stocks. It's a theme I told all the elite members about on our last weekend update video. And, if it's finished here at 5, it should see more upside, right? And we would see a 5. And then, of course, this would finish and come all the way back down. So it's pretty straightforward. And then BYND we already covered. And we were expecting more downside. Strabag. Let's see what this one is. Oops, wrong one. Exterior. How much upside in 1 to 3 years? Let's take a look. Well, if we look at this chart, none. Right, because in 1 to 3 years, you're going to probably be at the end of the correction. So it looks like to me, you're going to be in a sideways to lower market for the next 2 to 3 years. Okay, we can look at a higher time frame, but maybe one more high, 26, one more high, and then this whole thing has to correct. The problem is there's always a quick crash correction is always possible. So you would expect whenever this ends to come back somewhere down here. So I would just expect it somewhere in this area in 2 to 3 years based on this chart. However, as you know, there's always an extension possibility. And if that's the case, the upside would be, if you just kind of look at how it's trending, right, it would be pretty substantial if it does. So that's why, again, I never recommend time in the market on a bullish instrument. You just have to hold through this, take some profit at these peaks, and then leave some of it in, and then you just got to hold, because if this extends, you're going to miss it, and there's no way to predict that. There's really no way. There is some clues, like you see this peak isn't up here. So there is a possibility this is another one too. So there is a small chance of an extension, not a big chance because the peaks are pretty close. So there is a possibility that's a 1-2. I would say like a 20% chance of it being like another 2, and it's a 3 of 3. So I think this is more like an 80% chance what I'm showing here. All right, plug PL91. RR, where is it on our side? Divergence, is it a concern if it breaks the 4-hour? Let's take a look. So where are we with it? That's probably done there and there. The question is where are we on that divergence? Let's look. So we haven't taken that peak out. So that's a sign that it's going to extend higher. But let's look at the daily too. Same thing. So I think it would make another run at it, another go at it. What's interesting is how when it pulled back here, it kind of corrected the whole cycle, and then. So the way I would label it, I would still label it as 3 is done, but I would think it would erase the divergence and a bigger move. So I think you would label it this way still. But the question is, now you're in a higher degree X. So this is going to have to consolidate because it's got to now correct this leg. And how that does it is, you know, there's so many possible ways for X. It could be a triangle. Like we could make it, this could become a triangle over time. Something like this. Right? I think I drew it wrong. Let me try that again. That. Could do that. It could be finished. It could go even deeper. So it's really tough. So I think you're gonna have to say you're bullish over 280, and I would just trade it that way. You only have 3 up, so you have 3 down and 3 up. So I can't really give any much more information than that, but I do think it makes another swing higher in the future. MVST. Let's take a look. So something like this we'll just label from the low, and we'll take a look at the weekly. Yeah, so that's either a big extended 5th wave. I think that's what we'll have to call this, and then go from there. Hold on, let me think about that for a minute. Yeah, I think we'll just kind of start to label it and see if it kind of comes together for us. Let's actually go all the way back down here. Okay, so 1, 2, right? We would label it this way. I think that's like a more conventional way to label it, but the waves overlap too much and don't support that. So we'll just yeah, maybe we'll label it like this. Yeah, I think we'll label it as a corrective move, like this. So race and divergence. So this will be another 1, 2. And again, that looked a little too short, but it could have been a run-in flat. So it looks like it's going to go lower, but it should. I wouldn't be surprised if it finds support and then it whipsaws back up because of the higher high. So I think you got something like this coming. Is coming soon. And then you just kind of have to just kind of ride that out, and maybe the level. $94.12, somewhere around there, 94 cents, somewhere down there, as it capitulates down. So maybe somewhere down in that area, general vicinity, somewhere in that area. So I would be looking for something like this in this name, looking at what I can see. All right. And then it's finishing a 5th wave down. What happens after wave 5? So I think I showed you. Now, we used the RSI to help guide us into this label. Maybe you know, I hope you kind of followed the thought process on that. But and then you see why we labeled it as a 1, 2, 1, 2, because it's a race and divergence right here. It already did actually. So it's going to probably extend. So again, this is where a lot of Elliott wave traders will get confused, because they would label this clearly as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to buy it. This is why we tell our members never to trade the count. We have to use other tools with the count to help guide us, like RSI, Fibonacci levels, chart patterns, candles, and even just some fun basic information from other sources I use to formulate our count, the best, most likely outcome, most probable count. This I think could trap a trader thinking it's a 5, but if you look at the RSI, it's likely showing you it won't be. So it would fool you into a 1, 2, 1, 2, an extension, but to the downside. Okay, and then Nuke. Well, I think Nuke is tied to the URA, so we know our leak group we were kind of like, we knew a URA is likely to go lower, so we been waiting on that one. Let me make sure it's the right one. Is it a nuclear stock or not? Oh, it's something different. All right, never mind. Let's see here. Crypto. So it's crypto related. I mean, it looks like 5 waves down to me. So it obviously looks like some kind of either, flat that bottomed here and a 1. So we'll give it the benefit of the doubt that it's going to be saved. It may not be, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt until it breaks the low. Okay. There. So if that's 1, that would be 3. That would be your connector. 1 more low. I think most of crypto looks like this, by the way. Most of crypto needs 1 more low. I think every time I analyze a crypto chart, it's like 1 more low, 1 more low. Solana, 1 more low, 1 more low. So I think it's the same chart, but the problem is, how does this develop, right? How does this 1 more low develop? And that's the tricky part, right? That's going to be the tough part. So now we need to make sure we have the right connector. And see how it erased divergence here, and then this bounce reset that cycle. So actually, that's a completed sequence. So now the question is, where are we off this? So we would call a move higher, but we only have 3 up. So again, it's like the rest of crypto. It's probably going to do that double correction, so that 1 more low, right? It's just now we know where the connector is, so we can kind of get maybe a better idea of the level. So now if this is just like a more of a conventional correction, it should just make that low right here in 3 waves and be done with it. The level we could look for, 49 cents, somewhere around there. It'd be tough to target it, but I would be looking for another push lower, okay? And that matches all our other forecasts. Now, problem is, like we've talked about, X is a major connector for a major move lower, all the way from that top. So it may not just drop right away. There's a possibility of multiple paths on this connector wave, right? We've talked about this path, right? And then it crashes. We've talked about another path like that, and then comes up, and then it crashes, which I think this is probably the more likely view. I'm thinking for crypto. Not ready to go with this yet, but I think it could. It's starting to edge. It's starting to become like a more likely view for me at this point. But I'm not ready to make that like huge call yet. But this, something like that, I think it's 50-50. I think it's this, or it's finished, and it's like a coin flip. And I don't have enough close or data, but I would be leaning more this way, capitulation, looking at the market backdrop right now. So your question is, buy it against 420. Since it trades with crypto, your best bet, if you really want to buy it, is to time it when Bitcoin is in a box, right? Because it's going to probably trade together with Bitcoin. And also, I would say that from an RSI standpoint, the 4-hour won't work on this. Now, the 4-hour would work on this leg. So when this Y drops, you're going to want to take that peak out. But on the daily, you're going to want to take out that peak. This one right here. This one, So when this finally ends, you're going to it's going to have to come below that level, and on the weekly as well. So that's what has to happen. So like I said, 50-50. You're going to get the whipsaw, or you're going to get just the dump, and it's over. Now, I wouldn't. Again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I could be wrong, right? It could do the pump and do the double, and I'm telling you not to buy it. I just don't see those signs yet. Now, if it were to come up and break this high and then pull back, then I would be more interested in potentially buying it against $4. But then you have a higher high in this little bounce here, and that maybe you can play off of that a little bit. That would probably be what I would be interested in more, I think. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. The shorter time frames are kind of tricky. Let me go. I mean, we can look at the 15-minute and see. Again, we have to see where the low is. See, if I count this as the low, maybe I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that would say, oh, it should rally higher, right? But if I count this as the low, it's 1, 2, 3. So I don't know. I probably, honestly, I think it's a little dangerous. But if you believe it will go higher, I do think you would be buying it against the $4 level. Maybe when it hits 478, you could try to buy it against 407 and just see what happens. And if you're right, you'll definitely be. But I think definitely odds a little bit more in your favor if you tried that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that fails. So if it's an ABC from this low, then it could make another move higher. If it's not an ABC and it's 3 waves, then it won't. It will break the low. All right. All right. Let's see. I think I've got a couple more super chats, and then I'll read some of the comments. Oh, TradingView has it wrong. Oh, is that right? Not crypto. Sorry, man. Yeah, I don't know if I can look if there's another nuke. Maybe there's multiple ones. It's weird. Yeah. Yeah. If you find it, I'll look at it. But I guess you got crypto. I guess you got a crypto. We talked about crypto for a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes I don't see the comments come through right away, but I'm looking at my screen, so I don't see them. All right. HBAN. The cluster is way back here, so more than likely it hasn't seen a wave 3 yet. But my guess is this whole thing's about to correct. All right, we'll just label it and see what happens. All right, let's see. Yeah, maybe we're going to correct the 2020 cycle. I think we're going to correct the 2020 cycle here. Right? And that would be another one too. So maybe looking at this chart, should go a little bit higher. I guess it doesn't have to. I think, all right, so there's a danger. This could be a flat. This could be finished here, and then this could be start of a flat. So I don't know. There's not enough data to know that. I wouldn't put 3 there. It's another 1, 2. If it's a flat, right, it will drop rapidly back down to 1094. I would be watching this closely and see where it develops into. It looks like some kind of lead in diagonal here off of within this cluster of 1s and 2s. If let's look at how deep we went on the yeah, I will go with this. So I think I'll go with this count. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, maybe it's more impulsive than it looks like it's more impulsive. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. Yeah, probably a little bit more upside, and then that's probably it. We can draw this. It almost looks like maybe a wedge of some type forming here. You want to keep an eye on that. So maybe it tags that. Okay, and then AI. Looks like we had a box here a long time ago on it. It looks like it hit it, and it is rallying from the box. So this was this would be backing into the low, so it's got to hold that level. Let's look at the weekly. It wants to bounce. It looks like it wants to bounce here. Only in 3 though. So it's at a critical moment in its life. It's at the very critical moment of its life. There's a slight impulse here. There's a slight, like, I could make this, if I made this 5, it's gonna fail. So I think it's gonna fail. The box produced a reaction. I think it's just kind of like, because the boxes come from Fibonacci levels, and the computers will buy those here. So, but I think that's not. I think it's gonna go lower. I think it has another swing lower. Could it hold that low? It likely. It's gonna try to retest it, or if it breaks it, it breaks it. It would ruin the setup, but it would still have a big rally when it's over. I think this is impulsive. I think this is an impulsive move, so it can't be finished yet from Elliott wave theory point of view. Yeah, so that's how I would chart it. All right. Thanks. Can you make DVLT go up more? Yeah, I know. I wish it would. I think, the problem with DVLT is if it was any other time, it would be pumping because it's caught up in all this market noise and everything else that's happening with AIs, the sector. When you really look into the company, it does a lot of good things for encryption and stuff like that. Like stuff that I think will emerge as kind of like a theme at some point, but just investors don't even know about this stock yet, which is why it's early. I don't know. Here's the chart. This could be the low. I mean, we've seen these happen. I think, the structure really does need to hold this low here, or it's going to morph into something different. But with the higher high, whatever it morphs into, I wouldn't, again, be surprised in the future if it's going to pump. It's just, this is the setup. This is the setup, and now we just have to wait. And there is some things that make you hopeful, like maybe GameStop has a higher high potentially on a shorter time frame, which would indicate another market like pump of euphoria is coming. That could be this tech wave 2, right? We talked about that could be this tech wave 2, right? We could make 5 waves down, right? And then we could have a rally that could allow Datavolt to pump, right? Of course, you could always double. Or and I think the worst case is it's a 1-2-1-2, and it's hard to see. So it's tough. It's tough. I think it's just one of those things as it goes with trading. Not everything works out, but sometimes they do. And if the markets decide to rally for some unknown reason that surprises people, then you're probably going to benefit and be very happy with this buy. But if the markets do the bearish, collapse, it's hard to think anything's going to survive it. Except for a few, safety stocks like Pepsi and stuff like that may survive a market, But even then, those will eventually get sold off. If the grand super cycle's over, you would think, there's an initial wave down, and then there's the rotation in, and that creates the connectors as the market falls. But it's tough. These periods are tough when the market's not really trending that significantly. But here it is. That's the count. We'll see. Thanks for the big super chat. I really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go through now the comments, not the super chats. Oh, I got a couple more. I missed SE. Let me get SE. Going on here. So the key here is we got to find the connector wave in this tight impulse down, if there is one. So looking at it, it looks like it's just a 5-wave move down. So this looks like 5 waves down. So it either made a flat off of this peak like that. It's done, or it's going to take a more like an A, B, C. So I think it's going to rally soon. You see all that bullish divergent. I think it's going to rally soon as it finishes this impulse. Let's go to a shorter time frame, see if we can see this better. Let's see here. Where's the 3 at? Somewhere down there. See, almost done. So almost finished, but maybe just a little bit more, like almost, but not quite there. So I think I don't know. I mean, is it a flat or not? I think we can look at this peak a little bit more to see if it has signs of being a flat where there's no divergence at the peak. You see that? That's typically not what you see at a flat. So I think we got to just label it as of now some kind of A, B, C, something like that. Something like that. The only other path that will work is there's just capitulation and erases divergence. They would turn this into a 3-wave move. So your connector would be right here, and that would be a catastrophe, right? Because you're out of space. That would be 68. That would be a crash. So it can either be a WXY and you crash to 68.51 and it's done in 2, or it's going to have to take the more elaborate view of an ABC, like this, something like that, or even a flat. It can even do sideways. It's a lot of possible waves, but it can't end on 5. So it's either got to capitulate down and end in 3 and like a big 3-wave move with no divergence, or it's going to have to do it the hard way with time. So I don't think this will be the final low, but I think it's if it's 5, it should rally soon, and then that rally is likely to fail. JNJ, let's take a look. Mid and long-term outlook. Our long-term outlook is great on this. Long-term outlook is great. So JNJ has a 1-2, 1-2. The reason is, again, the peak RSI, pretty much back here. You see there's one peak way back in the 70s, and then back in here, a lot of peaks. The next peak we have is 2013, still very early. So these are so either you have to believe this whole thing's a fifth wave, which I don't. So you have to believe we haven't seen the real wave 3 yet. So because of that, that's why we have this more bullish count. We had this massive sideways multi-year correction. It broke out, and we had this marginal pullback, and it was mentioned we had a box and just truncated because it was so bullish, and now it's continuing. So I would expect it to see more upside. Dips will be supported probably for the foreseeable future. Question is that 3 or not? Let's see. That could be 3. So something like this. More than likely, you're going to finish this impulse, and then this will be another 1-2. It probably won't be 3. It'll probably be another 1-2. So long term, good. I think there could be another opportunity soon enough, again, to get in on this before the ship sails, so to speak. So maybe that's the opportunity right here when that 2 comes. Perhaps it will try to back test 168 whenever that happens. So that's what I'd be looking for. All right, I'm just going to kind of, again, scan through the comments. I think I got through everyone's super chats. Just kind of looking through the ones. Thanks again, and I hope everyone's having good holidays, good Christmas. Go out and enjoy your weekend. Like I said, I'll try to do another live stream tomorrow night. If it may not, if the markets don't look like they're doing much. If the markets are showing something different, worth exciting, and after hours, I may do it. We'll see. I'll schedule it. I'll let you know. You'll see it on the schedule. Let's see here. Just let me know if I've missed anyone's question. XP I have as a fifth wave, trying to finish up. That means lab down would be at a low. But I can't tell you what to do, so do what's best for you. But that's what my count says. I never trade the count. I would, again, just like UVIX, you wait for lab down. Wait for it breaks out, buy the first pullback against the low. So you would let lab down break out, let it pull back, then buy it against the low. And if you hit it, you did it. If not, you know the risk you're taking and you're accepting that. And just looking through the comments. So it looks like I got everyone's questions answered. I appreciate that. And just kind of looking through. Interesting. I can engage with the audience here. I can do a poll and things like that. Start a Q&A. I'll have to think about how to incorporate that into our live stream. I'm not sure, but maybe I'll figure that out. I guess YouTube's trying to push some things on me here while I'm doing this. All right, well, cool. All right, that's all I got, guys. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and let's see what happens next week. If we'll get more follow through on the downside. I think I think it's Bank of Japan's like the big thing, but there's so much catalyst out there right now. I think the Supreme Court news is due. I think the Epstein file stuff's got to come out by the 18th or 19th or something. So there's a lot going on. All right, guys, that's all I got.